Imagine a future where renewable energy projects, crucial to combating climate change, hang precariously in the balance due to shifting policy landscapes. The recent leak of Treasury Department guidance on clean energy tax credits has sparked waves of optimism and controversy alike. But here's where it gets intriguing. This document might just redefine how we think about starting construction for solar and wind projects. Solar stocks experienced an impressive surge on Friday afternoon, all thanks to a leaked glimpse of the Treasury's guidance on tax incentives for renewable energy. This revelation suggested that the Trump administration was leaning towards preserving access to funding for solar and wind developments, a move welcomed by many in the industry. But what exactly does this mean? The core debate centers around defining when a project has officially started construction, to lock in those valuable tax credits before they phase out next year. Currently, developers qualify for these benefits after spending at least 5% of their project costs by a set deadline. However, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed last month drastically shortened that timeline to July 4th of next year. In response, President Donald Trump issued an executive order instructing the IRS to tighten eligibility requirements for wind and solar ventures. Even further, a draft proposal obtained by Latitude Media sheds light on potential changes. This version scraps the 5% spending threshold and instead mandates physical construction to begin, though it does allow this work to commence off-site. Additionally, the new rules maintain a 4-year safe harbor period rather than drastically cutting down the window for completing construction. While restrictions imposed by the LBBB on solar panels with overseas materials still pose significant challenges for developers seeking cheaper imported modules, the law largely leaves untouched the 45X tax credit for clean manufacturing. This indicates continued Republican support for reshoring solar production. As a result, shares in manufacturers like First Solar and Enphase skyrocketed by over 13%, while developers such as Sunrun saw increases exceeding 30%. An anonymous industry insider expressed cautious optimism, noting, "If this becomes the final guidance, I'd consider it positive for solar manufacturers." They explained that this could encourage numerous developers to pursue domestic content incentives and sign contracts for domestically sourced materials. Citi analysts echoed this sentiment in a note to investors, confirming that the bullish shift in solar stocks stemmed from the leaked Treasury document. However, not everyone is pleased. Solar developers swiftly voiced opposition, arguing that requiring actual construction to have begun disrupts long-standing bipartisan standards without prior legislative agreement. Jeff Kramer, CEO of the Coalition for Community Solar Access, criticized the White House for adopting what he called a sum-of-the-above energy strategy amid widespread state support for diverse energy solutions. He questioned the logic behind weakening national energy independence when demand is surging and resilience is critical. On the other hand, Isaac Orr, Vice President of Research at Always On Energy, defended the proposed requirement to start construction. He argued that it aligns with public perception of what constitutes beginning a project. For instance, spending a small fraction on initial supplies hardly qualifies as starting a home remodel, unless it's merely a loophole to access funds. Orr also pointed out that the new guidance is more lenient compared to Obama-era policies which required projects to be operational before tax credits expired. According to him, the updated rules correct past excesses and aim to prevent gaming the system to extend subsidy eligibility. It's worth noting that the guidance, expected Monday, could still see revisions over the weekend. Over recent weeks, the Trump administration has rolled out several policies perceived as unfavorable to renewables, including scaling back offshore wind development zones and reviewing pro-renewable policies within the Department of the Interior. Some insiders initially speculated that upcoming Treasury guidelines might mirror stricter approaches, such as demanding developers spend over half the project cost up front. However, industry groups like Advanced Energy United criticized the leaked draft, stating it would eliminate established practices for demonstrating project initiation. Heather O'Neill, President and CEO of Advanced Energy United, emphasized the negative impact of creating additional federal red tape during a time when abundant energy supply is essential. She warned that these rules would hinder the development and financing of vital energy projects needed to power homes, businesses, and emerging industries reliant on affordable, reliable energy. Trump's executive order stems from pressure by conservative factions in Congress threatening to block votes on the OBBBB unless stricter controls on wind and solar were implemented. Yet, influential GOP senators like John Curtis, Chuck Grassley, and Lisa Murkowski have publicly urged restraint, highlighting the importance of supporting renewable growth amidst rising electricity demands. Senator Murkowski succinctly captured the sentiment in a recent post. "We need it all, and our policies must reflect that." This situation invites us to ponder, should regulatory frameworks prioritize immediate economic impacts or long-term sustainability goals? And how can policymakers strike a balance between fostering innovation and ensuring fiscal responsibility? Share your thoughts below. Let's dive into this complex yet pivotal conversation together.